This is the DOIO Hitpad Pro. It has low profile, silent, linear mechanical switches, a fully CNC'd aluminum case. It runs GP2040, which means we can use it on the PS5 with a converter, and I'll show you how to do that step by step later in the software. And it all comes in at what I would say is a fair price of $149. Let's start with the buttons like we always do, more specifically this layout, big elephant in the room. See how there is a split right here? So the buttons are separated. The movement buttons are very separated from the action buttons. I've never had a hitbox like this, so I was very interested in trying it out. A lot of people say that they want this layout because they got big hands. That's like the #1 excuse I get for why people don't want to switch to hitbox. They say, oh, I've just got these hulking giant hands. I'm walking around palming basketballs. It's such a problem for me. I can't play on the normal hitbox layout. Woe is me. Brother, I'm not going to lie to you. I've been to many fighting game events. Not a lot of you guys are walking around like Mark Henry. You're not walking around 7'6" or something like that, like a basketball player. You probably just got to give it more time. But no matter what your hand size is, if you want a more ergonomic layout to let you spread out, get your elbows out a little bit more, this is not a bad option. And that's the main reason why I accepted this when I saw in my email, is because I wanted to see if it did feel more ergonomic. And it does. It does to me so far. As for the buttons themselves, the switches inside, as listed on their website and in the document that they gave me, are low profile, silent, linear mechanical switches. That's what it says on the website. I don't know what color they are. I don't know if they're MX, cherry, KO, red, purple, yellow, rainbow, teal. I have nothing more specific than that. So I should probably try and give you some context as to how it feels. And I'm going to do that by just tearing apart some other buttons that are worse. And I'll mention when that's better. But in fifth, I'd put Sanwas. Everybody has experience with Sanwas. They're good for slapping on your action buttons, but for movement buttons, because usually you don't pick your hand up too much when on the movement buttons, they have way too much play in them. So if I'm resting my hand like this on some Sanwas, you naturally might move your hand around a little bit, and those Sanwas will move with it. You can draw a circle in the middle of a Sanwa without ever actuating it, and it's very noticeable. I hate playing on them as my movement buttons. I love slapping them, though. They're great. Classic. After that, in fourth place, I would put the Hout 42 buttons. Might be a little controversial. I think the Kale Red low-profile switches are fine. I just think the button caps that they use are a little too big. They're like 26, 28 millimeters. I don't remember. And they actuate fine because the switch is good, but they go down a little bit deeper than I would like. They're not, they say they're low profile, but they just go down a little bit deeper into the button well than I would like. So I'd probably put, and they have some play in them, so I'd put them at fourth. Third, I would put the OG mechanical switch, to me, which is the gamer finger buttons. They're the first mechanical button I ever bought. Super responsive, have MX silvers in them. They actuate fine. They have a tiny bit of play in them, but way less than a Sanwa button. And I'd have to put them third because I feel like there's been some technological advancement in the mechanical button space lately, so I can't put them at first, but they're still a very good option if you can find a set that is decently priced. In second, above all those, and keep in mind I've used those other three a lot, okay? I've used them a lot for previous videos or just because they're what I had on my stick at the time. Above all those, in second, I would put these, okay? And a couple reasons for that. One, it genuinely feels like, in the best way possible, that I'm playing on a keyboard when I play on this thing. It feels like a keyboard, parentheses, in a good way, not derogatory. That's the best way I can describe it. And the actuation point is perfect. I can rest my fingers on it, and nothing is going to actuate, and then I move it a little bit, and it's fine. And it also, let me see if I could show you on camera. When you do, this motion, it follows your finger all the way down and all the way up perfectly. I don't know what that is. The best way I can describe it is if you've ever used one of those hand trainers, finger trainers, where you press down on a spring and then the spring sort of follows your finger. It feels just like that. It is perfect. I don't know how they did it. I don't know what switches are inside, but kudos to them. And it is a keyboard company that makes this, that manufactures this, so I expected it to be very good, and they delivered. And then in first place, I would probably put the Punk's Workshop buttons, which I don't think it's even fair. That's a very biased choice because I've definitely had people use those buttons that hate them because they're so low profile. They have such little play in them, and they're very precise that you will get misinputs for a long time until you get used to those buttons. Very polarizing, very controversial button, I feel like, amongst my friend group and like local people here. But for me, I really like the Punk's Workshop buttons. With that said, though, if you're currently playing on a house or you're currently playing on like some sand walls or something like that, you will feel a world of a difference if you happen to buy one of these and you play on it. It is worth the price difference of some of those other sticks. Like if you're in the range of maybe you got like $90, $80, $90, $100 to spend, I would go up to $150 for this, especially because there's free shipping on their website, so you don't even have to pay for the shipping. I would go up to this. I think it is worth it for the buttons alone, and that's not even talking about the highlight of this thing, which is the case. This is a block of CNC'd aluminum, and the only acrylic is that thin little layer that you see at the bottom. On their website, it says aluminum and acrylic case. I thought it was going to be like half and half, dude. I thought it was going to feel like it was aluminum plated or something like that. It doesn't do it justice. That description does not do it justice. It is mostly metal. It is super heavy and dense. It's rock solid. You might feel like, oh, I need a non-slit pad on the back, like this material, but all over the back. You don't, because of how heavy and dense it is. I'm wearing basketball shorts right now, and it is not sliding off my lap because it is that solid and that weighted down. The only issue that you might run into is if you put it in like a drawstring bag or something, it'll weigh down. It'll probably weigh down on your back. Like it'll probably dig into your shoulders a little bit, but that's kind of a good thing. That's like what you want build quality wise. And these little accents, like see their logo right there, or this little rim around it, that's all machined into like this solid block of aluminum. It's also got LEDs on the back. You can kind of see them, those white little boxes, and they're responsive to your presses, but it is on the back, so it does press against your lap. That's why I turned them off, because I felt just a little bit of heat coming off of it. I don't know if that's placebo or not, but I definitely felt something, and I felt a little bit of a difference when I turned off the LEDs. I think it generates a little bit of heat, so I would turn them off if I were you. It's also got, you see here, there's a power port. It has another power port on the side, and then it also has a USB pass-through, which means we can use it on the PS5, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So first thing you got to do is you're going to hold this start button, and while you're holding that start button, you're going to plug it in to the computer, and then it's going to show up, you'll see on the LED screen, in web config mode. And now we're going to switch to the computer. Once you're at the computer, you're going to want to go to your browser and type in 192.168.7.1, and that will pull up the web configurator, and you can log into your Hitbox. This is what you'll be greeted with. You're going to want to go to settings, click this drop-down menu, put it in PS5, and make sure that this says host USB. Then you're going to want to click save. Then you're going to want to go to boot input modes, and make sure that one of these is PS5. So mine is B4, which is like your medium punch button. I'll show you in a second, which means you're going to hold that button down while you plug the controller in, and it'll put it in PS5 mode. If you want to put it back into X input for PC, it'll be B2, which I think is my medium kick button. We'll take a look at that in a second. You're going to want to click save once you've set your PS5 button. It could be any of these, whichever one you want. And then you're going to want to click reboot in the top right, reboot as controller, and then you're good. So once you've done all that, you're going to want to grab your converter, whichever one you have, the Magic Boots, this one, the Hout one. You're going to want to plug it into the pass-through port on the side of your controller, and then you're going to hold down whichever button you set to your PS5 input mode. So like I said, mine was medium punch. I'm going to hold that button down while I plug it in, and then now it should say PS5 mode. And then you're good to go, and you're going to plug the other end of the USB power cable into the PS5. Do not plug this into the PS5. This goes into the controller. This goes straight into the PS5, and you'll be good. No timeout, no nothing, and it functions perfectly. And that's on all GP2040 controllers. That's just how you do it on this one specifically. I wanted to show in this video because I know a lot of people are going to ask. I think your biggest question as a consumer still from this video is how does it compare, which is very valid. So let me walk you through your options if you're in the market for a Hitbox right now. And I've wrote all this stuff down, so if it looks like I'm reading off of something, it's because I am, okay? I'm sorry. I just had a lot of thoughts, and I wanted to make sure I got them all out. If you want something PS5 compatible out of the gate, we're talking maybe like $350 to $400. And I'm talking out of the gate, like a licensed product. You go to Best Buy, you go to GameStop, you can buy these two controllers there and just come home and plug it in. No hassle, anything like that. You're paying a huge premium, $350 to $400 for something like this, like a Victrix. You can see I've already changed the buttons out. I changed the buttons out the second I got this thing, like 2 years ago or a year ago. As soon as I got it out the mail, I changed the buttons out as fast as I could because it is a $400 controller that ships with Sanwa buttons. It is unacceptable. It is not worth it. As for the Kitsune, that thing uses Razer optical switches. So if you break one of them goes out or something like that, good luck finding a replacement. I don't know if they'll even sell you those like proprietary switches. I don't know how you get them. You might be out of luck. And that thing, I think, is also like $400. It's like $350 or $400. Neither one of them are worth it at that price point. So let's take a step down to $250. So what can you get for $250? Well, you got the Hitbox arcade controller with the old Brooks that still requires an adapter, by the way. And I don't care if they sell it with the adapter. I don't care if they bundle it in. It shouldn't be a thing. For $250, you get this bulky case and you get Sanwa buttons still. Unacceptable. Maybe one day they'll come out with something new and they'll make me eat my words, which would be cool. But right now, it's just not worth it. Even with the free converter or whatever. I just can't recommend that you buy that over any of the other options. In that same price bracket of $250, you might be able to swing one of these. This one is the GP2040 version I bought a long time ago. So I had to get like, just look at it. Just look at this monstrosity that I had to get somebody locally. I had to find somebody who knew how to solder in this pass-through port to make it work on the PS5. And that's because I bought the GP2040 version for like $200, maybe like a year ago or something like that. Now you might be able to go on their website and get the Brooks one for around the same price, but then you lose out on all the GP2040 benefits. And as you saw, the case had a giant crack in it because this is all acrylic and I sat on it. I put it in my chair and I sat on it and this part broke. And the case is also just 2 pieces of acrylic held together by 6 magnets. So it's not the craziest build quality, but it is a good controller, I guess. And the buttons are very good. So those are your options at around $250. Or we take a price step down and a quality step up. And at $150, you take a look at the DOIO Hitpad Pro. Like I said, the build quality is second to none. I could beat the other controllers to death with this thing. I could destroy the Punk's Workshop controller with this thing and use it like a hammer, and it would still function fine. I'm very confident in that. Am I willing to put my money where my mouth is? No, I don't want to destroy my controller, but I think I could if I needed to. Build-wise, you would probably think it's similar to like a Hout M16, which I think is now around the same price as this on Amazon. It is not. The Hout M16 feels like it's aluminum plated. This feels like solid aluminum. It feels good. I can't stress that enough. The buttons are great. Everything about it, I was very pleasantly surprised by. The only reason I even accepted this in the first place, by the way, is because it was a split layout, and I didn't have one like that for my collection. So I accepted the email. I was like, yeah, I'll take a free split layout controller. And then it came in, and I took it out of the box. And I was like, oh, no, this is a serious contender. Like, I think it's actually a very good value for what it is. And they did not like pay me to say any of this stuff. They didn't really give me any guidelines on what to say or anything like that. I wouldn't have accepted it if they did. I don't think. I like when people have to work on my time, not when I have to work on theirs. You know what I'm saying? So generally, when I make any review video, it's all my opinions, and I don't take like any payment for it, like no lump sum payment, because I think there's a conflict of interest. Although I will say, full transparency, I should probably mention this because no company that I've ever worked with, Hout, Hitbox, anybody has ever offered this, but they gave me like a 5% affiliate link or something, which is, I think it's like $7 off of $150. So I don't know what your guys' judge of my character is, but for what it's worth, I wouldn't sell you out for $7.50. I actually just believe in the product. I just wanted to mention that because if you see the link in the description, I do get like a 5% kickback from that, which is like $7. I wouldn't sell you guys out for $7. You'd have to pay me a lot more to sell you guys out. That's the end of the review video. If you're watching from KeyMonkey or DOIO, you can close the video now. Thank you so much. If you're just here for the review of the controller, you can close the video. But I just wanted to give like some announcements to my subscribers and kind of pull back the curtain a little bit on these review videos because I don't know if I'm going to make many more of them. I realized like working with KeyMonkey and DOIO, like I should have been getting treated like a lot better, I feel like, by some of these other companies. Like, these guys were very responsive, very nice. They offered the affiliate link, which is, it's not a huge deal, but it's a nice gesture. A lot of small gestures that went a long way with me, that made me feel like some of these other controller manufacturers are just taking advantage of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of my earliest videos that I made on Hitboxes are some of the most popular videos if you go sort by popular on my channel. And I just gave out free promo to a lot of controls that I already owned. And then when I reached out to those companies, like, hey, I made this video, like, these are the numbers, it did great, like, can I work with you? Like, I want to make more videos on your controllers. Completely snubbed. They're like, hey, like, whatever, man, cool. Nothing. No response, nothing. And then even further on, when I was getting sent controllers, there's no affiliate link or like even mentioning a payment. I don't know if I would have taken it. I don't know if my morals would have allowed me to take it, but no mention of payment. They're just like, here, take whatever you want, make a silly little video on it. And then the video gets like 50,000 views. Like, I made 600 videos on this channel, guys. And like a dozen of the top ones are like review videos or hitbox-based videos. And I don't really get that much money for them. I don't really care to make review videos. I don't want to be like the stick guy. I don't think that's my thing. You know, like, I don't have the technical knowledge to be the stick guy. There's many other people who are better at that than me. So I kind of don't know if I want to make these kind of videos anymore. But I do appreciate everybody that I've worked with in the past. And if you do have a good offer, email me anything better than what you've seen. But yeah, I just wanted to throw this in at the end in case you're here for only stick reviews. I don't know how many more of them you'll see. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider subscribing.